Hello everyone and welcome back to OS World Cup 2020. We're here to bring you the final match of the quarterfinals weekend, and what a match it promises to be. I'm this one guy, and joining me today will be Chillier Pair as we bring you Russia versus Poland for a spot in the next round. A spot to be, I think, shocking to one of these teams that they're going to be eliminated this early. How are you doing today, Chillier Pair? Welcome to the booth.
Good morning, T1G. Good afternoon, I guess, to everybody else, and you know, even morning or night if you're from an Asian time zone here. This is a match that we've been looking out for a lot of this weekend for the potential that it's had, given, you know, the different winning teams and all of their their losers bracket round one matches going into this next losers bracket set here. Poland and Russia, two teams that you mentioned, you know, they continuously make it to these late stages of the tournament, and then this is where they start to have their trouble, maybe around quarterfinals and semifinals, and it's very uncharacteristic to see both of these teams down here this early. So we're getting a really good, you know, show off here, show off in quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think neither team expects to be here in the losers bracket in a quarterfinals weekend. You know, last year, of course, Russia got to the semifinals in the winners bracket before dropping to the United States. Poland was eliminated in semifinals weekend as well by Team Canada. So either way, whoever loses this is going out a round earlier at minimum than they did last year. So looking to improve on their position here today. And I think both very hyped rosters coming into this year's OWC. You've got a lot of good players on both of these teams. You've got some returning tournament veterans for both. You know, guys like on Poland, WubWoofWolf, Rafis, Bartek, very known players in tournaments. Russia, meanwhile, Okinotori, Alumetri, guys who you see year in and year out here in OWC. A lot riding on their shoulders. I think there's a lot of pressure on both of these teams to win this match. So I think, you know, a very, very hyped, a very exciting matchup that we're going to be able to fortunately get right into here as they are already starting the ban phase. Do you have any thoughts about what kind of maps we might expect to see banned and picked here?
You know, for once, I think I am almost in the dark about what both of these teams would have to go for here. I think there is so much contention in the DT pool today that, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised to see Poland ban it, given their overall kind of command of that mod category. I think Double Time is very contested today, and I think that Poland needs to be a little bit scared, because if, you know, I haven't gotten a chance to look back at this weekend's match links for Russia, but Russia has looked very good at no mod consistency pools here. Not even just, you know, like no mod 1 and no mod 2 consistency wise, but just in general, their ability to kind of work through that pool has been surprisingly good, and the Hard Rock has kind of maintained as well. You know, something you have to think of and you know, wonder as we go into this is, I don't think we've really seen the best of what Poland can offer this year. I think that they have come into a lot of these matches seemingly not as prepared as what we've seen other teams come in at, and I think now that we hit quarterfinals, semifinals, and beyond, I would love to see a Poland that, you know, has really set rosters and has their picks and bans, you know, all in line, and make sure everything is all prepared nice and early beforehand, because I know they can do that. And Russia has just been showing us, you know, what they're kind of made of here in what has been probably one of the most competitive early stage years of OWC that we've seen in a really long time.
And I think, speaking of like whether or not teams are prepared and playing up to their potential, I think you can look at their matches yesterday and get a very interesting glimpse into the states of these two teams. They had what on paper should have been pretty simple matchups, relatively speaking. You know, Russia with Malaysia as their opponent, the 32nd seed. Poland with Finland as their opponent, the number 24 seed. And yet both of them dropped 3 maps. Both of their scores were 6-3. And I think a lot of people predicted sweeps, maybe 6-1, 6-2 at worst. So I think both of these teams maybe overlooking those opponents, looking at this match instead a little bit, perhaps, trying to be more prepared for this one. I don't know, but those were not performances that were up to the level I think we expect of both Russia and Poland. We do see Poland here looking to poke away at Russia's maybe strength in the speed skill set, banning out double time 3 and nomad 5. Maybe that's going to be something that'll play a role. Like you said, DT is going to be contested. Poland trying to kind of get rid of a little bit of that because they are maybe a bit afraid of how good Russia can be. It's going to be an interesting strategic match here, I think, for sure, with the picks in this one.
They're looking pretty solid on banning the speed out. It's very notable that Russia has banned out 2 of the 3 free mod maps, meaning they're pretty afraid of Poland's ability, and their kind of command over all of the different mods. I think Poland has a lot of players that can generally, you know, they're a little bit malleable when it comes to the mods that they're able to take, and given how many players they have that are capable with mods and comfortable at this stage in a tournament, it's very dangerous to keep free mod in for Russia. I think getting rid of 2 of those probably gets rid of 2 almost guaranteed picks for Poland. Maybe not guaranteed wins, but, you know, most certainly Poland running with the free mods just to kind of either overmod or just use that to any other team's disadvantage on that. You know, Poland is going to have some surprising picks today, I think. You know, we generally see them as, like, this big mechanics and, like, high skill cap team, but they're very good at the smaller, like, lesser known skill sets, the tech and the hidden, you know, reading, and the gimmick hard rock, like the very small CS maps. And I think they're going to work their way through that. Apparently, free mod.
Yeah, I was gonna say need to cut in there for a second. So, Russia attempting to ban 2 free mods. I guess that's not allowed. The rule set for that particular side of things is a little weird sometimes. You cannot ban 2 maps from any mod pool other than no mod, which does include free mod as a mod pool, so that you can only ban 1 map from. So Russia will be forced to leave up free mod number 1. They do still obviously have the free mod number 3 ban, but they're going to have to change their second ban. Poland put up a ludicrous score on free mod 3, so I think that is the more dangerous one that they should get rid of. We saw Double FC, Bartek on Hidden, Wolf on Nomad, as well as Mastasz coming in with a very good hard rock play. But so that means free mod 1 will be up. Poland will probably be picking that one at some point in this match, and we're going to see a different ban here from Russia. So it's going to maybe change things up a little bit here. You know, with that well-roundedness of Poland, with how strong they are at all sorts of different things, it's very scary to leave up, especially kind of the niche skill sets, because they have some players who are so good at them. You know, guys like Bartek and Wolf who can just play any type of map in the game. So Russia going to make a decision here, going to switch up their ban. Okinotori going to take a moment and come up with a new option.
So we have a lot of different, you know, points that we can come from for this match for both of these teams here. I mean, for those of you that have seen the pick'ems page, Poland is actually favored in this match, 64% to 36% of votes over Russia. So almost double what Russia is favored. However, Russia made it all the way to the finals last year, only losing 5-7 to South Korea. Both teams were knocked either down to the losers bracket or out of the tournament in semifinals last year. Poland lost 6-3 to Canada and was knocked out of the tournament the round after this, and Russia got knocked down 6-0 by the United States. So both of these teams being here now. Poland, the favorites of this year, with their high seeding again and their previous performance. However, Russia, with their better performance last year, is definitely something to keep out. Keep a lookout for. I mean, what are your thoughts about last year versus this year?
I mean, you see a couple roster changes on both teams from last year, and I think it's hard to say because, you know, Russia, of course, is a country that in the tournament scene, for those who aren't maybe fully familiar with them, they're kind of a little bit nebulous. It's hard to predict. I always talk about how Russia seems to get skill capped in semifinals. A lot of tournaments you see them getting to semis and then just kind of bowing out in sometimes a less than graceful fashion. So it's hard to predict a little bit with Russia. They've got a lot of players that are not maybe the most frequent tournament players in you know, like the visible scene. And so, you know, you've got like guys like Okinotori and stuff who are everywhere, but it's always a little hard to predict, I think, with Russia, what exactly to expect. You know, like we say, they sometimes get skill capped later on. Poland, meanwhile, a little bit more known factors on some of them, but again, there's some players on that roster who don't play a lot of tournaments as well. I mean, you really don't see Rafis playing tournaments, right? You don't see Mastasz playing a lot of tournaments. You don't see Aldrouch playing a lot of tournaments. So there's a lot of unknowns in this that I think are very interesting, and those can be the players that really make the difference. You know, you come in, I think you know what Okinotori is going to do. You know what a guy like, say, Bartek is going to do because they're all over the tournament scene. But some of these other players make it a lot harder. And some of the new players coming in this year, I think, for both teams can definitely be difference makers. And I think we're going to have a good match on our hands regardless, and we are going to start off with Nomad 4, which I think is a bit of a toss-up pick between these two teams. I don't know that either one is particularly favored here.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting first pick to see starting off with both of these teams here. You know, we mentioned how many different routes this first pick could have taken for both of these teams here, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not really surprised to see the Nomad start the match off here. They're going to try and get both of the teams into like their actual slots here for their teams. Right now we're almost perfectly flipped. And, you know, starting with a Nomad is, I think, the most open way, especially at a 2-minute Nomad like Ash rounds. It's 180 BPM. It is the tech map, I guess. So I did mention earlier that Poland is pretty favored in terms of tech maps with a lot of players like, you know, Marek and TWOJA STARA. Like, it really, you know, brings home the fact that they have so much prowess in their previous tech performances compared to what you've seen in Russia. However, you do have players like Okinotori and talala who are really good at this sort of thing. So yeah, it goes back and forth both ways, I think, and it's just about who's feeling it more this year. Look at this systematic team switch right here. This is clean.
Yeah, players ending up in exactly the wrong sides of the screen, so gonna get that fixed up. But yeah, I think a lot of the maps in this matchup that are going to get picked, I think, are very contested because these two teams both have just really high mechanical skill sets, and both of them are relatively well-rounded. I do think, you know, there's maybe certain advantages that Russia would have, like in speed, and Poland a little more in sort of the combo game types of maps. But both teams both good at mechanics and the more gimmicky types of picks. You know, you saw the double speed ban coming out from Poland with the double time 3 and Nomad 5 bans. And I think that would have been one of the things that Russia would have been better at. So kind of leaving them with fewer really good picks. But into the first map, we're going to go Bleary Vagary, which has been a very popular pick this round, especially compared to Nomad 4s in previous rounds, and one that a lot of players have done very well on as well. So this is going to be our starting point for this match. Russia-Poland getting underway here, our final match of quarterfinals weekend. Win or go home in this losers bracket round 3.
Early stage to be sending one of these two teams home. On the side of Russia, starting them off for this match, we have Red Pixel, Alumetri, talala, and Okinotori. On the right-hand side, we have Rafis, Bartek, TWOJA STARA, and MAREK MARUCHA. Both of these teams with the solid lineups to start them off here. This first pick could decide quite a bit, and with Rafis and Marek finding very early breaks, Russia's looking to take a little bit of an early lead on a very short Nomad 4.
Yeah, you know, my concerns were kind of twofold with Poland here as we kind of get into this map where Rafis, a guy who doesn't play a lot of tournaments, obviously a ridiculous skill cap, an incredible player, but you never know exactly where you're going to get it with somebody who's not as common in the tournament scene. And then MAREK MARUCHA, somebody who has been very hit or miss over the past few months, and both of them finding another combo reset as well as Bartek. This one is going very heavily in Russia's favor already. I don't know there's much Poland can do at this point other than hope and pray that Russia finds a pretty full combo reset.
I mean, if you look at the last round of the tournament in past weeks, Russia has kind of let maps slip in the last couple of seconds, especially if you saw their match against a team like, what was it, Japan, where they kind of just had it for the entire map and then dropped the ball completely at the end. You only see talala finding a break, though. However, it is quite literally just TWOJA STARA finding the FC for Poland with very high accuracy, mind you, but Red Pixel.
Yeah, these scores from Russia are quite solid. That 99.6 AC on Red Pixel, 99.4 AC on Okinotori. not a lot Poland can do at this point. Rafis and MAREK just not having a time. There goes the last FC. TWOJA STARA is now gone. This one is going to be a Russia win by a vast margin. They're going to win this by probably over 1 million points. This is proving to be a very good first map for Russia here. A great performance out of them, even though they do drop a couple misses here at the end.
Yeah, Russia looking so confident on this first opening tech pick here, and as Red Pixel comes in with a 99.55% FC, joined by a couple others on his team with Alumetri here, and Okinotori almost brought it into the end, just finally finding a miss, but that accuracy is exceedingly impressive. Poland with kind of an all-around consistent performance, the 97% 400 to 500 combo there, the only outlier really being TWOJA STARA down in that bottom left corner there for them with the 682k top scoring for his team, but it's not enough. Russia with such a dominant overall performance. You see those 875k plus scores there. It is Poland's pick next, so that was Russia's pick. They did start that off, and that was very, certainly a great pick for them. Poland is going to have to respond now, though, especially being the second pick here. It's very important that they start off with their pick, because you fall behind on a break point early, and you put yourself in a really bad spot for the rest of the match here.
Yeah, the first pick can be so important, especially to teams that maybe trend a little towards, being a little less mentally sound. I think there's some teams that they can lose a point and it's like, okay, no big deal, next point. And there's other teams that lose a point and it's like, oh god, oh shit, what do we do now? So we're gonna see here. The first pick from Poland is gonna probably have to be a very good one. I don't really have a great feel for what map to expect this to be, though. Like, what skill set do we think that Poland really has in their favor here against Russia? Will it be that free mod 1, since Russia did try to ban it before being told they couldn't double ban free mod? It is not. It's going to be no mod 1. This is such a toss-up pick every time we see it played. Every time we see no mod 1s, it just feels like either team could win them. And these are both teams with some very strong mechanical players on aim maps, so I think this time is going to be no exception to that either. Big aim requirement and a decently high BPM at 200 BPM, a little higher than the average no mod 1, but a map that I think both these teams will be very, very good at.
This is a contested pick for this round. We've seen it picked a couple of times between all of the teams here, and it is something that you mentioned. It does go back and forth, but we mentioned the consistency of Russia on Nomad before we started this. They've just been looking so solid between especially Gasha and Alumetri. I think Red Pixel and Envy have looked very good as well, but those two players I'm just going to pick out in general. They have shown us such a good performance on these aim and basic mechanics maps that Poland is going to have to find some amazing all-around combo here. It's just going to be so interesting to see. We've seen this map picked 5 times now. This will be the 6th time we've seen this picked, so we have a lot of experience with this No Mod 1 here.
And I'd like to point out one thing about this particular pick in this case. Poland played this yesterday against Finland, and it was one of the maps that they lost, and they did not even reach a 3 million score. Now, they had, however, 2 1 misses and 2 2 misses. All 4 scores were between 675k and 700k. The amount of improvement that's possible there if you trade those 1 misses into FCs is ridiculous. So I think Poland is just thinking that the sky is the limit for this particular map for them if they just avoid those untimely breaks, about 400, 500 combo from the end, because they all got 900 to 960 combo on a map that's about 1350 or so. If they can avoid those breaks at that exact spot, they're going to have a ridiculous score possible for them. If they continue to break at the same places, if not worse, then it could be very bad. So this is going to be quite the contested pick, I think, for both teams, but already a couple breaks from Russia on Alumetri and on Envy.
Yeah, those are 2 very big breaks here. A quarter of the way through the map, and you can still, keep a lookout for those halfway point breaks, but Poland is going to take a pretty easy early score lead here. MAREK find a very early break. Mastasz is going to trade it out, but it's and he's having a little bit of trouble here on these back and forths here. So kind of evening things out just a little bit more, but Marek is keeping enough combo right now that the score lead is still going to go in the favor of Poland right now. But, you know, all eyes are really on Red Pixel and Gasha for Russia right now. As long as they're able to hold against Bartek and Wolf, this could go both ways here, because Marek has broken once. He can break again, even with that accuracy.
Yeah, there is a lot of map left to come. This is one that, you know, it's a Nomad one that really doesn't let up on you. There's a lot of jump sections, a lot of places that you can break. And with it being 2 FCs to 2, any miss on any of those big combos can be really damaging to a team's score, especially now as we're getting into the second big diff spike here as we go into the second chorus. A little bit of a break, but then it's going to come right back at you here.
I fear these streams.
Oh, no breaks on the streams with a big back and forth, so we're going to get into the chorus unscathed. Both teams with a lot of combo now starting to be built up. Double FC and a near FC for Poland, a double FC and 2 pretty solid combos for Russia. It's a 200k lead, but there is a third of the map still to come, and that can change in a hurry.
Yeah, you got to be very careful of a couple of players in this match here. I mentioned Gasha has been looking so good for Russia on these no-mod consistency maps, and he is continuing it very well right now. Red Pixel holding with him fantastically. Bartek, you know, this is what he's really good at. He's good at these aim maps. He's good at the later stage big aim here, and Wolf is holding with him, albeit his accuracy is not the best. But Marek is more than making up for that. With
there's a break from Gasha. The last note before the spinner, that might have just sealed the deal here.
He broke that so close at the ending on that last note there. He under-aimed it by a couple of pixels. That's gotta hurt for Russia here.
That stings. There's a late break from Bartek as well, but I think Poland is going to have enough of an advantage that they are in the driver's seat very comfortably. Over 300k the lead.
Yeah, a lot of good combo on this side of Poland.
Wolf. Is that... There's not enough time for it to come back.
No,
so it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, there's a lot of good combo for Poland on their side. They have Wolf and Marek, who are either FCing or basically FCing, and then Mastasz just has such a good supporting combo that it's offsetting everything else. And Poland is going to take their first pick, albeit in a little bit of an unconventional way. You know, Red Pixel with that amazing FC, 6-100s on him. That is amazing to start this off. Mastasz with only 4. Bartek with 9 and Marek with 8. A lot of players in single-digit 100 counts. You see in quarterfinals quite often the accuracy not normally the problem, it's the misses. But Poland looking strong on the Nomad. The aim is pretty good for them right now, so maybe they could run with that. Hard Rock is still open, and there's a lot of good mechanics maps left for them. So if they could use their high skill cap to their advantage, maybe picking out the harder maps, they right now, like, this is something that, Russia has to keep an eye out for. If Poland gets close to match point or, gets a little bit of a lead here, they're going to keep a lookout for players like Bartek and Wolf on, and, even and TWOJ on a low AR hidden. It's going to be dangerous. And as we come into a DT, we are sitting on a Russia skill set right now. Their speed this year has been dominant over what we've seen from Poland.
Yeah, DT2 here is a really good pick from Russia. It is what I expected, I think, for the next pick to come, and they did not disappoint. This is absolutely right within their wheelhouse, and I think it's something that they'll look to put up a really good score on. Just trying to look at their matches from yesterday for the scores on this. I don't believe that Poland played this map, though.
This is not something that Poland played, I believe.
I actually don't think either of them played this yesterday. Now that I'm looking back at it, I believe this. So DT2 was banned by Malaysia against Russia, and I think Poland just didn't play it because it's not really their type of map. So this is going to be a new map for both of these teams that we have not seen them on, but I do think Russia, with how strong they are at speed, I mean, Red Pixel, obviously one of the most renowned speed players in the game, shows up in tournaments and puts on good shows. However, Poland, Bartek, obviously quite good at this type of thing. Rafis, a very fast player, so they do have players for this pick. It's just going to be a matter of who performs the best in the actual match.
Yeah, this is a pick that we've seen in this round that has been primarily banned by a lot of teams that think that they're at a disadvantage in DT. And, we saw it banned in United States versus Brazil. We saw it banned in Russia, Malaysia, France, Sweden. So a couple matches where speed is maybe not as contested, where you have a match against, Russia and Poland. There's a lot of good speed players on both teams here. Some very good speed players on both teams. And when you have a map that's this contested, I don't think that the teams feel the need to ban that out, given their ability to take it. And, we've seen Russia has been so good at these types of maps, but on the other hand, we've also seen a Russia that has generally let maps slip away from them at the end if they're against a team that has been looking very consistent for the rest of the map. We mentioned that, they've been running with three-way FCs until the end of maps sometimes, and they miss at the ending either because of nerves or, not maintaining the consistency into the ending. And the other team just takes it on the combo into the finish. And I mean, we kind of see the same thing with their placements. Russia always seemingly knocked out semifinals to finals. They're so good up until a certain point, and then they kind of just stop.
Yeah, I always joke about Russia just hitting that wall where they do really well, and then all of a sudden they just don't anymore. I don't think we're at that point yet in this tournament, though. Fortunately for them, their skill cap has I don't think quite been reached for maybe another week or so, depending on what we see out of that semifinals pool. But we are at long last going to get into our next pick here. Red Pixel, MrFuture, Din, and Talala in for Double Time 2 against Aldrouch, Bartek, Rafis, and TWOJA STARA. Aldrouch making his first appearance this weekend. I do not believe he played a map yesterday in their match against Finland, so we'll see how things go for him. But I think a couple players to watch out for. Obviously, Red Pixel and Din on the Russia side, Bartek and Rafis on the Polish side. This is a contested pick, but one that Russia should be favored in, as we see the early break coming out from Rafis already. A very short map, just a minute and a half long.
Yeah, look at these accuracies on the side of Russia, too. MrFuture, Red Pixel, and Din on some insane accuracy. Talala really the only one that's struggling. Poland has, more consistent team accuracy with all of their players kind of hovering around that 95 to 96%, with Aldrouch only being the exception. And there's a break from Din, so Rafis' break is going to be traded here, and this is going to give a little bit of a score, not like a lead, but it's definitely going to crawl back to Poland's side here, but the accuracy.
Yeah, there's a break from Aldrouch. The problem for Poland here is that their accuracy is just so low. It's really an untenable situation to be in. Even if they held all their combos, I don't know how quickly that would have come back because the accuracy difference was so great.
Yeah, Russia is just looking so strong on this. Red Pixel and MrFuture are gaming right now at that accuracy.
That hack is really, really good from Red Pixel and MrFuture, man. Holy cow.
That
5 100s apiece, double FC, and an FC A rank from Talala, 92% accuracy with a 69 100s. Nice.
Oh my goodness, that is a play from Talala. That is crazy to see that is 3 FCs for Russia. And he puts up 955,000. But you know what? That's almost 1 million, and that is a big score on a map like this. When you have players like Rafis and Aldrouch who are 800k and below. Bartek and TWOJA just with, kind of low accuracy being their only fault here. But Russia taking their pick again. Both of these teams looking really confident in their own picks here. And Poland is just going to look to bring it back to their side, dead even on their next pick here. I don't think they're going to have to use Hidden 2 yet. I think there's a lot of options left for both of these teams.
It's got to be Hard Rock 1 here.
Yeah,
after what happened on Nomad 1, this is just Hard Rock 1, like as the instant pick.
They're just strong on the aim right now. They're looking so consistent here.
Russia is much more about certain types of mechanics, much more into the speed, and then somewhat into tech as well. Poland, some of these players just so good at raw aim, and Russia not, I don't think, quite as strong in that particular skill set. So I think this is another an obvious pick here for Poland, and another one that I think is very, very favored to them, especially considering their performance yesterday was so strong on this. It's relatively similar to the Nomad 1 in a lot of ways, so Poland going to look to pull this back to a 2-2 with a very logical, straightforward second pick.
Yeah, both of these teams here, I think, are already outperforming by a decent amount what we saw from them yesterday, especially, going up against each other. They know this is a contested match. They know this is their last chance to make it to the next stage of the tournament, and they are up against a team that is, not a knock at the teams that they played in the first round of the losers bracket, but this is a way harder match for both of these teams. Both of them with so much, prowess and previous experience in this tournament that there is so much on the line going up against a team that is as strong as Russia or Poland here that they can't really afford to let anything slip away. So I think that's why we're seeing a much better performance from these teams overall. And I think that, it's going to be very good to see teams like Poland, who have kind of been laying low for the tournament, try and give us a performance that we expect from a team of them. And it's going to be good to see Russia try and push the boundaries of where they normally lie in an OWC format, where they really need to just kind of lay it all out on the line for a match here. So it's like two different sides. We have a Russia who's been performing well that needs to just push themselves to that next level and they'll be fine. And we need a Poland that needs to make like a complete flip from the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and, I was talking before the match in that regard about their preceding matches this weekend. As you said, their opponents were not perhaps the strongest teams left in the tournament, Malaysia and Finland respectively. So we didn't get to see their absolute top end, and I think maybe they felt like they didn't need to show anything. They didn't put everything out there on the line in that first match of this weekend because they knew this match was coming and there was a very low chance that either team would lose in that first one. So seeing an improvement in this particular match is not super surprising. Seeing a break in the first 200 combo from NVSS is a little bit surprising, though. It's going to give the early lead over to Poland, as they do have the SS on both Mastasz and on MAREK MARUCHA, who just drops 100. But this is such a Nomad 1-esque pick that you can really feel like you can break a lot of places on those jumps that come up a lot.
Yeah, definitely. We just saw Red Pixel drop his 200s. He was the only double S left for Russia. That is now gone. MrFuture only on 1x100 right now, so he's looking pretty confident. There's not a lot of wiggle room for these teams here. Envy is the only one that has given a big opportunity here to Poland to run away with this if they're able to hold for longer. And we're not quite at the halfway point yet, though, so there's a lot of potential score. You see all these players still only at about 350,000, so 650k score to go. That is quite a bit left for these two teams right here, but both of them looking confident right now. There's not a lot of anything happening for both of these teams here.
Yeah, this is just both teams showing off their aim. However, there is a break from Alumetri and MrFuture. Oh my goodness. Well, we said it, and that's unfortunate. Russia just kind of collapsing there because 800 combo into a 1200 combo map, those scores are going to take a sharp decline now. Poland, meanwhile, holding on to that four-way. This is clearly a map that they're very comfortable on. Those accuracies staying quite high for Mastasz and from MAREK as well. Bartek and Wolf not doing too badly, though there is the break from Bartek, but matching Envy, so not the end of the world. Red Pixel, the only FC left from Russia, and there is not a lot of combo on his teammates, so Poland should just be able to run away with this in the last quarter of the map. Last couple hundred combo to come. This one is over and in the books at this point.
Oh yeah, that break for MrFuture and Envy at the end, just the icing on the cake for Poland here, giving them that comfortable finish in here. 3 FCs and a Mastasz with 1 X100 right now. Mustache?
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 Mastas? The Mastas.
Mustache.
I don't know. It's, yeah. He has just a couple hundreds. Very, very strong performance. That's going to be, looks like maybe a triple FC here, just coming to the last 50 combo.
This is looking so good for Poland right here, and Mastasz showing us that he is the Mastasz at Hard Rock.
Boo.
You can't set me up for that.
So the triple FC comes in here from Poland. Oh, that was a good showing from Poland. That was a map that they clearly knew like the back of their hand. Only 1 FC from Russia on Red Pixel, very good accuracy on him. The S rank from Alumetri as well, but those 3 players not even able to get over 800 combo. You're not going to have a great time against a team that 3-ways when that happens. Just shy of 4 million points for Poland, and we are back level at 2 apiece. Russia with the next pick. Bartek continuing to try to goad them into the hidden 2. It's not going to happen, man. Really, you're going to have to give up on that one eventually. You're going to have to pick it yourself if you want it played.
Yeah, really, it's not going to work out for them. Congratulations to WubWoofWolf for getting more hundreds than 3 combined players on Russia, by the way. Very impressive performance for an FC. So good for him there, though. I'm glad to see that, you know, Wolf has showed up a lot more in these later stages, which is going to be very good for Poland, given that he is one of their better players on the team, probably, you know, arguably the best in certain scenarios. So to have a player like that finally start to show his true colors on these later stages is very good for him.
Yeah, all we need are some 2009 maps in the DT Hard Rock mod pool, and he will be set to carry everyone for life. Wolf is a really remarkable player. His longevity in this game is nearly unmatched. The fact that he's still around playing in OWC and putting up great scores like that one is really a testament to just how much he loves Osu. I think he plays it because he enjoys the game, you know, and not everybody can still say that when they've been around for 10 years or something like that now.
Yeah, that's good. It's good for them, you know. I mean, if you really want to see what WubWoofWolf can do in this match right now, I think Hidden 2 would be the pick, you know, right now that we're looking for. So Russia, plugging for Bartek here, the Hidden 2 pick coming out, but Poland is going to pick it nonetheless. I think there's no reason that they wouldn't.
I think the Omega troll from Russia would be if Poland doesn't pick Hidden 2 next, they go from Nomad 2 and then they go Hard Rock 2, and they just keep the 2 theme. Because they went DT 2 and then they went Nomad 2. So next up, obviously, is Hard Rock 2 because they're not going to pick the Hidden 2. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, Stream Map is something that Russia has always been good at. I think Nomad 2s are really a skill that they're great on. So this should be another map that's a very solid pick for Russia. I think both these teams able to pick well within their skill sets very comfortably in this matchup, and that's what's contributing to a very level 2-2 score through the first 4 picks of the match. Both teams just picking maps that they're great at and playing up to expectations on them. And so in we go. Nomad 2, map number 5, 2-2 score. Each team with 3 picks remaining at this juncture of the match. Will either team blink? You know, neither one has given anything away on their own picks so far.
Yeah, this is gonna be a more contested map than I think both of these teams want it to be. Russia definitely more favored, given that they are running with players like Red Pixel and Alumetri, who kind of just slap on maps like this. Never mind, Red Pixel already missed. So Russia, with an early break from Red Pixel, is gonna put them at a little bit of a combo disadvantage, but the accuracy is going to run in their favor right now with Aldrouch at 98%, but it's going to go back to Poland.
Yeah, and I mean, this is such a long map. It's 3.5 minutes. It's a ton of combo. It never really lets up. There's the slightly slower middle section, but other than that, it's just a constant barrage of streams. And we do see the first break for Poland coming from TWOJA STARA, then a second from Aldrouch, followed up by Rafis as well. That's a 3-way combo reset. That is not good, as Russia maintains 3 FCs and a near FC on Red Pixel.
Yeah, this is already going downhill for Poland a little bit. This map is 3.5 minutes long, so there is quite a bit of time left for Russia to find breaks. But that is given that Bartek continues to maintain his FC, which is basically Poland's saving grace right now. As long as TWOJA STARA continues to hold his combo, he's going to be a good support. But, you know, unless we see a break from Russia within, I'd say, the next minute, They're probably just going to continue to hold combo if they're comfortable through this section of the map. I imagine they're comfortable through the rest of it. So, you know,
there's a break from TWOJA STARA, so there goes that backup combo. Aldrouch breaking as well. So we're halfway through. We're at 800 of about 1700 combo, and I think the map is already over, actually.
Yeah, this is, I mean, well, there is enough potential score on Bartek and Rafis right now that they could bring it back, but Russia needs to four-way break right now.
Yeah, there is so little time left for Russia to break that would actually leave enough time for Poland to pull off the comeback. But this is just going to end up being a really good showing from Russia. I think this is a type of map that they're just really, really good at. The aim requirement is relatively minimal. The stamina is fairly high, and there goes Bartek, the last FC gone from Poland. This is going to be a stomp of a map. This might end up being over 1 million points when it's all said and done. Russia just really good at this type of thing, and Poland clearly not having the greatest time on this pick.
There goes Rafis.
Alumetri finally finding the first real break for Russia, but it is just not going to matter at this point. The end of this is pretty intense. There are places you can miss near the finale within the last couple hundred combo, but I mean, the lead is 1 million points, so the fact that they just triple reset is almost meaningless because Red Pixel is still holding on to that huge combo, and Poland has not much to show for their part.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Russia coming into the finish. Red Pixel does break at the ending.
Yeah, they four-way reset, actually. This ending is very hard, but it's at a point where it just does not matter, luckily for them.
I don't know, man. Bartek's making it look pretty easy right now, hitting all of that. That was impressive to see on the side there, but it doesn't matter, unfortunately. Russia kind of dominating that for the entire map right here. Gonna put up 3 million on the spinner? Yes, they did.
Yep, 3 million right about on the dot, and that is a 3-2 lead. Russia winning their first 3 picks very, very comfortably thus far. That one almost 1 million points. Did end up coming down just below that margin thanks to Bartek's combo at the end. The S rank from him could have looked a little closer if he hadn't had that slider break, but the scores from his teammates just not enough to make up the big gap with all 3 players. Pretty solid scores for Russia. 770k or above on 2 of them. 700k or above is really on 3 of them. More important part.
Yeah, this is great. And in favor of both teams right now, actually. This is the optimal situation, I think, for both of these 2 high-performing teams here on this match. Trading back and forth on your own picks and not on breakpoints. This is essentially what you want. If you are either Poland or Russia right now, you're winning your picks. The other team is winning theirs. I guess it's not the prime optimal situation, which is you just win every single map. Obviously, that's what you want. But, you know, trading your own picks back and forth is technically the optimal situation on a match like this. You want to win your own pick. The other team gets their picks. It doesn't hurt you for the other team to win their map selections. And you just go back and forth, and then you just like find a map that a team slips up on, and then you capitalize on that. If we do go to tiebreaker, which I'm going to be perfectly honest, I would be perfectly fine with because this tiebreaker is awesome. But you know, couple breaking for Poland right now. This is like looking almost as good for them as Hidden 2. This is a map that they just have so many good players for here. And, you know, I mean, what do you think Russia does in terms of mods on this?
I think they might just overmod this with Hard Rock, to be honest. I don't know how many people on their team are comfortable with AR 7.8 Hidden or no mod. So I think we might end up seeing a couple of Hard Rocks and just the 1 required Hidden on whoever on their team is most comfortable with it. But I think this is a super Poland favored pick. You know, we saw Rafis FC this yesterday with Hard Rock. We saw some pretty good scores from their team across the board on it. This was the pick that I think Poland was kind of holding since they saw Russia try to ban it out before they were not allowed. They put up nearly 3 million on it yesterday. Wolf obviously is somebody who can play any approach rate, so he can come in and no mod this just fine. Same for TWOJ.
Both of these teams getting themselves set up here for free mod 1. Mod's probably going to run more on the standard side for Poland. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to run. I think they could over Hidden for Poland. I think Wolf is most likely going to be the Hidden player for them, but Bartek is more than capable of running Hidden as well. So I think that there is a chance that they might run Wolf on the no mod and Bartek on the Hidden if they're feeling like Wolf has a confidence. Is the mic working?
I think my internet just hiccuped, but I believe I'm still here. I think I'm still here.
You're back. I was like, he stopped. He's gone.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. We have some inclement weather in the area. I was hoping it would hold off long enough to at least get through this match.
Everyone say stay safe T1G in chat. Can we get that spam instead of whatever we've been seeing? That would be lovely. But into the beginning of the map here, definitely was correct about Bartek going for the hidden and them trying to put Wolf on the no mod for the guaranteed FC there. He's been really good at that here. And Rafis, no surprise there on the hard rock. And then you have TWOJA STARA in the corner there. Alumetri with a very early break for Russia here. Okinotori on the hidden and Talala on the hard rock. They're two best players for that. Okinotori does find a hidden break and so does Red Pixel. So there is two big breaks for Russia. And Poland with a 4-way FC still, and there goes Okinotori again. It's just Talala and Alumetri left with any combo for Russia right now. And this map is only 2 minutes.
Yeah, those early breaks can be very damaging on the short maps like this one. A couple more breaks, there's not a lot to speak of here for Russia. Meanwhile, Rafis, Wolf, and TWOJA STARA all holding on very well for Poland.
There goes Bartek, the first break for Poland. I'm not surprised in the slightest that the first break for Poland was on their hidden player. This map is exceedingly difficult here with hidden. And there goes Rafis and TWOJ as well, so it's just WubWoofWolf left. So it looks like that no mod guaranteed FC is going to be something...
Oh, and Wolf is gone! That's a full reset for Poland. This is looking scary. Russia has a lot of combo. Alumetri still on the Hard Rock FC. Okinotori doing well on hidden and 300 plus combo on Red Pixel and Talala. This is going to go back over, and there's not a lot of time left. Russia might just run away with this one.
Russia just wins this now. They have so much potential combo, and there is not a single chance. Russia would literally have to drop all 4 of their combos right now to lose this. And as Mishny finds a drop in the bottom right, sorry, TWOJA STARA for Poland, only Red Pixel to trade it. They needed significant amounts of trade. Only Okinotori now. Alumetri is basically FCing. This is just going to go over.
Wow. That is a shocking break point.
This is a massive underperformance from Poland on Free Mod 1. I definitely think that there are a couple of contested picks left in this map pool. Plenty of them at that. And this was most certainly not one of those contested picks. I thought that Free Mod 1 and Hidden 2 in most people's minds was probably 2 of the guaranteed picks for Poland that they were probably going to win. And now Poland is in a position where they need a break point and they're stuck. And now they're scared of Hidden 2 because they just lost 3 mod 1.
This is a really rough spot to be in now if you are Poland, because not only did you lose a break point, not only does Russia have their own pick, but now your other map doesn't feel quite as confident. I don't know. This is a rough spot to be in. Poland now needs a break point back, or they're going to go down 5-2 and be at risk of elimination immediately.
Yeah, Bartek kind of really showing his sarcasm through in the chat there. WubWoofWolf is calling him out on it. But I think that something that Poland has to keep in mind, and I think they don't need to be as scared of Hidden 2 as people would expect, because if you look at players on Russia like Okinotori who were running with the hidden mod on that, not an amazing performance in terms of combo and score there. So if you take the rest of the players on Russia and throw hidden onto them who weren't taking it, you know, given that Okinotori was their strongest hidden player in order to take that mod, it's still going to be a good pick for Poland, because you have players like Bartek who outscored it. You have a player like Wolf who was basically just going no mod for a more of a guaranteed combo than with hidden, because we all know Wolf can go hidden on that map, let's be honest. There's a couple other players they could have subbed in, so I think that Poland is still looking good for Hidden 2, and to be perfectly honest, that's good for them because they're going to need to use it if they lose DT4 here.
Yeah, and you know, DT4, I've mentioned this a couple times, you know, it's much reminiscent of Heart of Night, which we saw last year. That very repetitive, lengthy finger control stamina type of pick, a lot of bursts, a little bit of aim. This is actually, I think, as far as DT goes between these teams, a relatively contested pick. But as we said, Russia just typically better in this skill set than Poland. So I think this is still a fine pick for Russia, and it's going to be a dangerous spot to be in for Poland.
I think Poland has a good shot at what they're running with right now in terms of a lineup, but with the way that Russia has been playing DT and speed in general, just with their consistency in the lineups that they've put out, there are not a lot of teams that left in the tournament that can contest the performance that Russia puts up on some of these DT maps. Obviously, you have the top tier teams that are putting up insane scores, and as of right now, Russia is looking to be one of those teams. And when you're up 4-2, especially on a match like this where there's just so much left in the pool, it's a big morale boost too, because Russia has a lot of wiggle room here. Especially if they win this pick, they have a significant amount of give on this match here, because Poland could still take 2 points and Russia just needs to take one of their picks and win. And they've already taken a break point.
Yeah, this is a big pick here for both teams. If Russia wins this, they are absolutely in the driver's seat. Poland very much needs to win this and their own next pick to get back on level ground. So a lot riding on the double time number 4 here. It's 3 minutes long. It is very consistency heavy. You have to remain in control the entire time, because if you trip up anywhere, the other team will just be waiting to take advantage of it. So we're going to get underway. Talala, Envy, Alumetri, MrFuture. I'm surprised not to see Red Pixel in on this, actually, for Russia. Meanwhile, Rafis, Bartek, TWOJA STARA, and Aldrouch for Poland. Not too surprising a roster on that side of things, but Russia, man, they want this pick, because that is a huge spot to be in. That 5-2 lead is a vast, vast margin, and just feels much more comfortable.
The accuracy looking pretty good for Poland right now. They do take the score lead on that. Rafis' early banjo miss was not an actual thing. I think something to mention is that Red Pixel, notably a really good speed player for Russia, maybe not feeling the best on the 10.3 today. That is the big difficulty on this map, and I'm seeing a lot of shake on Rafis right now. I don't know if it's just me. There is a lot of wiggle on his cursor on these streams right here, which is kind of worrying for the later parts of the map, especially if nerves take effect. Even though Rafis has been around for a long time, nerves are still a massive factor when you get here. There's Envy, though.
Envy, and he is the lowest accuracy on Russia as well, 94%. Lowest accuracy in the lobby by about 2%. And so that is the player you really don't want to break, because you lose so much score when you break with that kind of low accuracy. Your combo is all that's keeping you afloat. However, Aldrouch, the lowest combo, or the lowest accuracy on the side of Poland, is going to break as well. So that's going to be pretty much evening things out. 3 FCs to 3. Oh, TWOJA STARA is gone as well now for Poland, and Aldrouch breaks again. Russia's going to take this lead right back.
It's all going.
Oh, and Rafis breaks too!
It's gone! He was shaking so much!
Oh my gosh, it's all on Bartek, and there's just not going to be enough that he can do. We're about halfway in now, and Russia is going to take a humongous lead after this break once we come back into the map.
I would not be surprised to see a break from Talala. That accuracy is not looking too good for him, but big square section there. Their only Aldrouch breaks on that. It's Talala, Alumetri.
And there goes Bartek! There are no FCs and no combo over 200 now from Poland. This map may well just be over, as Alumetri and MrFuture still continue to hold on to the FCs. It's a 200,000 point lead for Russia, but that's going to continue to just grow exponentially into the last quarter of the map.
There's nothing they can do about it.
This was such a good pick for Russia. It's 10.3, it is speedy, it is streamy, it is stamina draining, it is all the things that Russia is, and many things that Poland just appears to not have in their bag. And this is going to be Russia pushing it to match point here on a very solid performance.
MrFuture and Alumetri just running through the ending of this map here. I think we're going to see the double FC from Russia here, which is insane even for Russia.
Nope.
Oh, no.
MrFuture breaking in the last 100 combo. You hate to see it.
I think is that a slider break?
It might be. That is a massive win for Russia when they needed it most. Their own pick coming through in the clutch. An 830k point victory. 5-2 the lead. Match points on 2 picks from Poland and 1 pick of their own to come as well. Talala finishing down at the B rank, but the 1200 combo still better than anyone's combo from Team Poland. And this is just a big lead now for Russia. Poland backs up against a wall. Do you go hidden 2 here and risk your tournament lives on it?
This is, something we mentioned at the beginning of the match. Poland, one of those teams that has a lot behind them when it comes to morale. And that is a big part of what Poland is. And right now, I think Poland needs to take a step back. They need to give a pause right now. They need to pull themselves together, and they need to... I think that they just need to pick Hidden 2. It is quite literally the one thing they can do right now. They've been talking about it the entire match. This is the time that the morale, not necessarily affecting performance in a map too much, but I think morale affects your judgment quite a bit. It affects your ability to make a clear pick on where you need to go. And Poland needs to remember that they are the reading team. Yes, they gave up frame mod 1, but if you pick Hidden 2, it forces the entire rest of the team on Hidden, which is something that they're not as strong on if you look at Russia. So this is the point where Poland needs to they need to run with what they know they can stick with right now, and they've been talking about it the entire match. This is their last chance to do it. If they don't do it now, they can't ever do it. So this is the point that they need to hold it. They second-guessed themselves.
Okay, we forgot about it. Hard Rock 2, they did really well on yesterday, and I kind of overlooked this as an option. They put up 2.9, almost 3 million score on this yesterday. This has been one of the maps that not a lot of teams have played, and we kind of overlooked a little bit discussing their potential options. But they had an FC from Bartek and S rank from Wolf yesterday on this pick. I think this is not a bad option, and I think it's an easy one to forget about because it's been so underplayed in this pool.
So,
Barsha notably did not play this yesterday.
Yeah, this is... I mean... I don't know. Poland has such a good performance on this, and Russia has been looking really good on Hard Rock and the consistency. However, Poland did win Hard Rock 1, so they do have a little bit of an advantage there. But this is gonna be this is, you know, regardless of whether or not what the pick was here, this is the choke point for Poland. If they win this pick, they have to win a Russia break point, otherwise they are done anyway. So regardless of whether or not, you know, Poland wins this map, they need a Russia pick, because they're going to take this, they have to take Russia's, and then what do they finish with? Hidden 2, and then it goes to tiebreaker, and then they have to rely on their consistency from the rest of the match that they had at the beginning. So, you know, Poland's certainly not out of this. It is certainly not out of the question that they can take a point here. They're only down 1 break point on Russia, but it's such a big difference when, you know, first to win is 6 here.
Yeah, this is a really scary spot to be in if you're Poland or a Polish fan. I do think this was a fine pick. I also was thinking about maybe Hidden 1 because, like you said, Russia not as strong in Hidden, but we're going to have to wait and see. Poland needs to win this pick before we can consider anything else. With those backs up against the wall, with them being in that tougher spot that you talked about, this is their OWC 2020 on the line here for Poland. Can they recapture the magic of this map from yesterday and start a big comeback here from 5-2 down? Russia, a team that is good at a lot of different things, but maybe not quite so much in this particular skill set of these awkward Hard Rock maps. We'll get to find out here. Talala, Red Pixel, Alumetri, MrFuture, the ones trying to close it out against Mastasz, Bartek, Rafis, and Wolf. This is a big moment in this match now, as every point will be a match point now for the rest of the match.
I'm gonna make the joke again. Let's hope that Mastasz shows us that he's the Mastasz of Hard Rock again. I had to. It's the time that we need to see it. Talala and Bartek trade off an early break here. So this is staying even. Accuracy, the only thing that Russia has right now.
And this is another pretty short map, just 2 minutes long. So any break, once you get past the intro, you get a couple hundred combo in. Those breaks start to be very important. They can be very damaging to your score early on. The 3-way full combo for both sides. A little bit of an accuracy lead for Russia. MrFuture with that 99.5 act, best in the lobby. That's going to hold on to the lead for them, but it's any one break can really affect things. Any shakes on a CS 6.5 map like this, you mentioned Rafis shaking on the last map a little bit, but instead it's going to be Bartek with the break. Talala still holding on. WubWoofWolf gone as well. Is this Poland about to be eliminated? They have only 2 FCs left, and Rafis is shaking like a leaf in the wind.
This is it. I think there is halfway through the map. We just saw Wolf break halfway. That's guaranteed 650k only if he FCs the rest of the map right now. MrFuture looking like he is showing no signs of stopping right now. Red Pixel and Talala with the accuracy as well, and Alumetri still holding the FC. It's gone. It's a 2-minute map. There's a quarter of it left in the score lead.
MrFuture does drop, but I just don't think it can open up enough. Russia would need a full combo reset right now, or it is over. It's a 400,000 point lead, and I think it's done. Rafis breaks. That's it.
That's it.
Poland is going to be eliminated.
Poland getting dropped out of the tournament in the quarterfinals. This is a full round earlier than last year, and Russia gonna continue the same thing they do every year. Somehow they force themselves through into the next round of the tournament, into the semifinals. Russia gonna make it through. They're doing it. They're going for it again this year. Let's see if Russia's gonna go for they got knocked out of the losers bracket early, and they're gonna go run for it.
They are going to get a rematch. Russia will face off against South Korea. Last year they played finals weekend. South Korea barely eked it out 7-5. They're going to play a little bit earlier this year. It's going to be semifinals weekend instead of finals weekend, best of 11 instead of best of 13. A little bit easier pool. Will this be Russia's chance to take another step to try and go a little bit farther? Well, we're going to find out, but that is a great win for them today. This victory over Poland, very, very important for them mentally and very good for them. Poland, they didn't quite have it today. I don't know. I think a couple picks that should have gone their way in normal situations, they underperformed on just a little bit. Those shakes, those breaks were not in Poland's favor, and Russia took full advantage with some very good performances.
Yeah, I think Russia just looking so good. They've been giving it every single ounce of energy they have in this tournament this year, and it really prevails for them. They're just putting all of the effort in. I think, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't think we've seen the best of Poland this year. And, unfortunately, there are some years where you go out for OWC and you maybe don't give your best performance.